Oh, I'm hoping like hell. I hope like hell it stays open this time and it doesn't get shot to pieces. That would be nice. But anyhow, yep, shug. It's about that time again, creatures. It's time for yet another Madam Cross story tonight.
Oh boy. Hold on, let me get more wine.
That might be a good idea. By the way, you should try some of that darker blend. It's fantastic. Shadow gave it to me.
You want me to put something in my mouth that Shadow gave you?
For once, yes. Usually, hell no.
Okay, if you vouch for it.
Humans and their cute little traumas. Ha!
Yep. Entertaining though, isn't it? For new listeners, if you don't know what the Madam stories are, these are my real life stories life side. I did not make any of them up. They really happened, and I tell them in great detail. So sit back, old listeners and new. Fill your glasses with wine. I've got a story for you. Hit the button, Gwen. Okay, so tonight, ghouls, I'm going to tell you about the first time I was suspended from school and my first confrontation with a kid named Gay George, as we called him. So, back in 2003, I am from Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised. In 2003, I lived in Cleveland Heights, and if you've never been to Cleveland Heights, it's one of those places that tries to be ghetto, but it's way too clean to be a ghetto. No matter how hard you try or what kind of reputation you build for the damn place, it could never be a ghetto, so quit trying. It is too nice, it has money and backing, and it has freaking electric freaking park signs. Come on, what are you gonna do, put graffiti on that? So back in 2003, I lived on Coventry, and I went to a school called Taylor Academy. And Taylor Academy was this really small building. It's deceiving. It looks like the size of a damn library, which it probably is today. But when you actually went inside, it's actually quite big. And I went to Taylor Academy, 9th grade, and when I first got there, of course, I didn't have any friends. I never had many friends because my school life has always been bad since kindergarten. People always picked on me or fucked with me because I looked different, or I liked wearing a certain color and they couldn't get past that for some damn reason. And of course, the majority of the kids that I went to school with are assholes, much like anybody who's ever been to school and crazy enough not to actually attain the school spirit, and you didn't want to be involved in any of the fucking activities with the people. So Taylor Academy was predominantly a black school in Cleveland Heights, lots of black teenagers, and of course I try to uplift my race in any way I can, but sometimes it is impossible with certain factions within a race. And I went to school with, about 70% of these fucking teenagers wanted to be thugs and achieve some holy grail of ghetto fabulousness it was just so goddamn sad to see this. And they believe their favorite rap stars are these true gangbangers, hard asses on the street. But in reality, they're in their nice plush apartments, eating cheese and $100 sausages, watching you all tear each other apart over their music as they laughed all the way to the goddamn bank. Lots of wannabe gang members who wears that as some symbol of triumph to, impress like-minded assholes while walking around smelling like one, if you can understand that. Every school has them. And I never made too many friends in Taylor Academy, of course, because a lot of the kids, like I said, are assholes, and some of the teachers, too. Like, I had one teacher named Mr. Booker, and he was this chubby fucking a fat ass who thought he thought he was so much more intelligent than everybody else in the fucking world. And he used to have this one little stingy ponytail in the back of his head, but the rest of his head was fucking shaved bald. And he just thought he was so fucking smart, and he would make cracks at the teenagers thinking they wouldn't pick it up, and a lot of them didn't, but I could tell, like, okay, you're being an asshole. And he just was an asshole. I didn't like his aura. I didn't like the way he talked to me. I didn't like the way he fucking put people down. So some of the teachers were just assholes. Not all of them, but some of them were. Now, of course, third period was my math class, and I used to dread going there. There was a kid named George I went to school with. There were many Georges in the school, but this one kind of stood out. Everybody called him Gay George. And the thing is, my track record when it comes to gay people has been bad. Granted, look, I'm a flaming bisexual myself, okay? But a lot of gay people just instantly saw me as a threat for some reason. They're very standoffish with me, and naturally my past with them hasn't been good, so I've always kept my distance, and this was the start of that. Now, Gay George was this oh my god, Shug. Gay George was this dark-skinned, chili bold cut guy with he had acne so bad that it looked like chocolate chips were coming out of his face. So, and he had earned the name Cookie Face because he looked like a walking, talking cookie. And see, Gay George is one of those loud, overbearing, wannabe ghetto, confrontational gay guys who is hell-bent on making a noisy fucking exhibition of himself. And he thinks he's tough, and he wouldn't shut the fuck up unless you knocked him out cold, okay? Unless you put him on his ass for good, and not in a way he enjoyed it. And he doesn't realize just how much of an annoying jackass he is. And he always had his annoying posse of skanks with him who are just as ratchet and fucking irritating. Shug, they smell like cheap perfume, bad decisions, and no hope of getting laid. Imagine that smell, okay? Try to envision that. So Gay George was being loud and fucking obnoxious, and he would constantly fuck with me. He would constantly pick on me. Well, not pick on me, because I kind of stood my ground, and I kept saying stuff back to him. I'm like, okay, fuck you, get out of my face, you Daffy Duck-looking motherfucker. And the teacher used to tell him, George, sit down or you're gonna be out of here. And he thought he was just tough. And it's the equivalent of a damn furry chihuahua or a poodle trying to make a pit bull scared. Imagine that. Imagine running from a big, furry, lovable, cute poodle. That's what this person was. And every day it was the same thing. I had 2 classes with the motherfucker, and he would make little jokes to his fucking posse of skanks who thought they were funny too, when in reality nobody would touch them with a 10-foot pole. They would touch the Grinch before they touched these broads. And I can still remember seeing their fucking arrogant dumbass faces laughing and making jokes and shit. Fuck you. And he constantly kept fucking with me every day, and I would say things back. I'm like, fuck you, you Daffy Duck looking motherfucker. Fuck you, you walking Nestle Crunch bar. Fuck you, you knock off of a Girl Scout cookie brand looking son of a bitch. And people, we would just go back and forth. It wasn't in playful fashion. He was just a fucking irritating fuck. And for some reason, the fucking kids got more behind George for some reason, because I just had something about me that I could look exactly like these fucking kids in school, but somehow I'm alienating in some way, or I'm weird in some way when I could look just like them. So I guess that's naturally my odd aura that I've carried my whole life, and I'm damn proud of it because it's won me many friends later.
Of course.
And he had this other skinny gay guy named Kevin. And Kevin was this walking, talking piece of jerky. Imagine a bent Slim Jim, Shug. He looked like a piece of beef jerky that's so generic, it's not allowed to be sold with the good stuff in the corner store. The shit that just says jerky, no brand name, the stuff that has no spice or true flavor to it. It's just a sad imitation and a rubbery fuck. That's him. That is Kevin. And he would follow Cookie Face's footsteps in messing with people. So now I'm dealing with a nasty cookie and a dry jerk-off. So, let's call this person JN. JN was another gay guy that would sit with me in study hall, and he would ask me what was going on or whatever, and then he would turn into a prick out of nowhere. Like, he thought he was so fucking smart and telling me what I should do about Cookie Face, while also putting me down and insulting me. So this JN person was an absolute fucking prick in and of him. He just turned into an asshole instantly. Like, you should do this. Oh, well, if you're not gonna do this, then why am I wasting talking to you? I've got other friends I should talk to and stuff like that. Yeah, fuck you. So, yeah, it's like most of the gay people I went to school with back then, they were just assholes. So I didn't keep too much of a fucking friendship with good old JN, because it wasn't much of a friendship. He freaking like a bipolar schizo person, so.
Right.
So one day, Gay George gets too ballsy, okay? We're in math class, and I'm sitting there, and I'm writing something, and we go back and forth. And then along the way, he gets kicked out. The teacher kicks him out, he gets up, and one of his books hits me in the leg. And I kick him. I kick his shin as he walks by me. And he goes, "You know what, little boy?" And he puts the books down in his true flimsy-armed fashion, like he's freaking Stretch Armstrong or something coming to fight me, rubbery bastard. So he puts his books down, he comes over to the side of me, and he points his finger into my temple and moves my head.
God, you're making me angry.
Okay. You don't fucking do that to me. So I stand up and I get in his face, and I mug him a little bit. And he gets me in some kind of flimsy headlock, right? Now, of course, you've got my head. You could tell he couldn't fight good because you got my head and you're still open. You're doing nothing about my arms. And I'm not the fighting type, Shug. Can you see me in a fight? Could you? No, because I don't fight people usually. But I could tell that I could kick his fucking ass. He couldn't kick a fucking old lady's ass. Somebody's Aunt Lola can beat the fuck out of Gay George. So he has me in a headlock, so I take my hand and I put his head down, and I deliver two very hard punches to his face, one in his eye and one in his lip. And then I move him into the chalkboard, and I just start laying into his stomach, and he still got that headlock. I'm feeling his body go numb trying to hold me, and I'm just like, well, dumbass, if you let go of my neck, I'll stop punching. But the longer you keep me in this, I'm gonna keep wearing you out. I'm gonna keep punching you until you're shit yourself, possibly, and you're gonna fucking let me go. So the teacher calls for Mr. Romanin, which is the science teacher, which is the room next to us. He comes up and he breaks us up, and all these kids come out running. Who's fighting? Who's fighting? Who's working? Who's working? Working is another name for fighting. They call working. I don't fucking know, Shug. I don't know. So they break us apart, and the only damage he's done to me is he's ripped my headband off, because I used to wear nice little headbands with my short dreads. I'm a little teenager. And he has a swollen eye, and his lip is swollen, and it's bleeding. And he's still talking shit to me, trying to look tough, but I think something is mentally fucking wrong. Because he's going, "Here, take your little nasty little headband with you, too. And then you take that with you." And Yes, I'm not even over-exaggerating. "Take your nasty little headband with you, too." Looks like he's spitting fucking Kool-Aid out of his mouth, how hard I punched him. He gets punched in his shit and he keeps talking. So I get escorted away, and we both get sent to Mr. Minifee. Mr. Minifee was the president. Tall, bald-headed, nice black guy who had some hope for African Americans, but he was losing it and working in the fucking school, which I can understand. And he's a really nice guy. People used to call him the human milk dud, which was fucked up. But he had us both in the office, and George has a swollen eye and a busted lip, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I can't let you guys get away with the murder. You got to do the time." And so he gives us both a 2-day suspension next week. And I'm like, you know what, fine, whatever. Because I'm tired of him fucking messing with me. I'm tired of him talking to me. I'm tired of him bothering me. I'm tired of him and his fucking crew of skanks messing with me constantly on a daily basis. I want to run them over. I do not like them. So please, just suspend me. I've never been suspended before in my life until then, but something had finally snapped. And when he pushed my head like that, I said, fuck that. So I have to finish the rest of the school day out, so I'm headed back to my next period, and these kids in the hallway are looking at me and talking, or I wonder how much time you got, or whatever. And then there are some of these fucking tough guys who are saying, "Well, I bet he couldn't beat me in a fight. Bet you couldn't beat me in a fight. And, well, he wouldn't have whooped me like that. He should try and fight me, see if he do the same thing."
And your point is what?
Seriously, I don't care for any of you. You're all annoying. I hate you. You all smell like Cheetos, Fritos, and free hoes. Every day I come here, the more and more I want you all to be swallowed. Do you understand? I wanted Baco to enter this school after he's accidentally snorted cocaine and rages out with all the doors chained and padlocked, Shug. Fuck every one of you. So I went home, and I served out my 2 days, and then when I came back the next day, I had to remain separated from school, because Mr. Minifee, he had my back. Mr. Minifee knew I was a good kid, I was a respectful kid, and he was just like, you know what, my principal at the time, he's like, you know what, I will go get all your assignments from your classes, and you can work here in the office with me before, I send you back out there. And, I ate my lunches in Mr. Minifee's office. I felt like a little secretary, let's just say that. And I was doing my work there. I did all my paperwork so I wouldn't have to deal with the shit. And outside the window, because the assistant office had a big window that you could see the front of the school, and some of the kids were out there during the lunch, and I saw Gay George there with his crew of usual skanks, and they're all talking and sitting on a rock, and some of them looked in the window and saw me, and they made their little snarky shit, and I was just so close to fucking taking a brick and busting it through the window because they were all fucking But after that, he settled down. He didn't say much more to me, and then it started up gradually again, but I just tried my best to ignore it, and we were just separated before something blew up, because I saw him get into several confrontations with people because he doesn't know how to shut his fucking mouth. Many people wanted to beat the fuck out of him because he wouldn't shut up. He just had that annoying shit sniffing grin on his face, or hit that little nasty fucking snooty ghetto look, and he just fucking looked like he was gonna say something wrong, and everybody wanted to kick the shit out of him, and I was just the first one to actually physically do something to him. But I did. He did go to school with me the next year, and he was still running his fucking mouth. I don't understand this kind of creature. You are getting your ass kicked. That should teach you to stay down and shut the fuck up. Obviously, you need to focus on something else. This should teach you a lesson. Stop talking shit to people.
Stupid. Just stupid.
But after that, he never bothered me again, and once we left or graduated high school, we never saw each other again, and thank God. And there you have it, my first and only suspension from school in my life.
Did you ever find out why it's no longer a school?
No, and honestly, I can give two shits. Most of my memories at the time came from being outside that damn place. I did no research after I left it.
Did you ever run into this George later in life? Or this JN person?
Oh, funny thing, I did. I ran into JN at an anime convention back in 2013, and he's still a fucking snooty prick, just fatter and hairier. He's just... Shug, it's just that instant, insecure, bitch-faced, rude, everything that comes out of your mouth makes me want to feed you a whole shotgun attitude I despise. I hate that shit. I hate that shit with great passion. I hate rude, insecure, snarky, confrontational, shit-heeled people. I can't handle that. I can't do that. I don't want it near me. I don't want it near you. I don't want it near any of my loved ones. I don't want that pollution in my circle at all. Dead side or life side.
Shitty people are always inevitable. We just have to do our best to avoid them.
Or punch them. If someone is an ass to me, I'll make sure they never make an ass of themselves when I tie them in a knot and use them as a chew toy.
Please do that, Baco. Sometimes that shit is needed to make the world a better place, especially life side. By the way, Shug, to answer your question, no, I never ran into old Cookie Face again after high school. Because I'm sure he's either in jail or he's been fired from a gay club for starting shit, and he's still getting knocked the hell out to this day. I'm more than sure. Prick.